Okay, I'm just trying to give you a mental model. Okay, a simple mental model. How do you marry the four and make them one is the challenge we have. Okay, while keeping the principles of variety and adaptability intact. So that's a fantastic challenge for education. I would say it's a really, really good challenge on pedagogy and administration and so on in the education system. How do you blend the four and make them one? I hope all of you have got the model. In summary, I'm saying conceptual learning, formal, tied up beautifully. Experiential learning, informal, tied up beautifully. The other two boxes are not that strong. Not that strong, but we could make that strong. How? And I hope all of you agree that you need a blend of conceptual and experiential. I don't need to labor the point anymore. It's not at all necessary to labor that anymore. I've given you examples of music and swimming so you can easily make out what happens in the real world. Imagine living marriage theoretically, conceptually. Huh? Wonderful, no? Okay, so that's the way it is. Now, I'm going to sort of share with you a simple model of learning which might be useful. Some of you may know it, but for those of you who know it, it might be a refresher. For those of you who do not know it, it would be useful. Okay, come down first about it. Let's come to the macro cycle. Learning takes place through two cycles which are parallel. You can imagine. There's a macro cycle and there's a micro cycle. So I'm trying to take you a little bit into learning and then use your intelligence to blend these two into the conceptual, experiential and formal, informal. You know this part. I think most of you would know this, but nevertheless, it's a nice part. The macro cycle is what I put on the slide there. It's a mastery cycle. By the way, all learning ends with mastery, and ideally mastery of the self. Okay, that was an early point I made. Ideally, all learning should lead to mastery of the self. And because of mastery of the self, mastery of the universe. At least that's what the greatest thinkers of our land have consistently said. First, master yourself. Then we'll talk about mastering the universe. Okay? And all our mythology and all our stories actually can be wired to that idea. First, master yourself. Then we'll talk about mastering others. Often we give this example. Very often we want to control others. A simple question. Can you first control your liver or kidney and say, do this right now? None of us can do that. And the question which many thinkers have asked is, when you can't control what is inside you, why are you even talking about controlling things that are outside of you? Is there any logic at all to that kind of thing? It's a very difficult question to answer. We cannot control. I can't tell my liver, hey boss, do this, send this atom this side and that atom that side. I can't do that. Okay? So that's the reason. So we have the macro cycle and the parallel micro cycle, and they join at some place. So I have to give you that model. Now what's the macro cycle? Simple. Macro cycle starts with the state called unconscious ignorance. I don't know that I don't know. Now that's where the guru comes. Now this is what happens in both formal and informal learning, conceptual, experiential learning. Stage 0 is I don't know that I don't know. Simple. So guru has to come and put the switch on, open the head and say, yes, the switch is on. Yeah, then I come to conscious ignorance. Yeah, I know that I don't know. Which is a very, very important stage for learning. Absolutely important for learning. Where the student gains humility. I know that I don't know. Because that's probably the necessary condition for getting interested in learning. It's not a sufficient condition, by the way. It's a necessary condition. The student has to have interest in learning, first of all. So how do you kindle that interest? So first, student should know that he or she does not know. And that is the starting point. Then you come as learning goes. Now that's exactly where the branch off takes place into the microcycle. So you've got a main line and a chord line in railway language. I think you got the idea. Okay, main line is macrocycle. Started with unconscious ignorance. I don't know that I don't know. Conscious ignorance. I know that I don't know. And come down into the microcycle. Okay, the microcycle operates, but it's just for your visualization. So you've got a main line and a chord line like that. Okay, it's sort of inverted trapezium. You want to put it that way. And this side is unconscious ignorance, and that side is subconscious mastery. Okay, at the other extreme. Okay, let's come down a little bit and see what happens. The next stage in the macro cycle is what you call semi or unconscious stupidity.